Welcome to Real Love, Real Stories TV and podcast, a platform for sharing love stories and for finding hope. I'm Kanu, I'm the host, and you are listening to episode number 11. This week's episode is brought to you by Real Love, Real Stories Shopify store. Enter episode 10 to get your 10% discount. In this week's episode, I am talking to Tommy and Jenny. Enjoy their love story. Welcome, Tommy and Jen, to episode 11.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So to start off with, maybe can you guys share who you are a little bit with my audience?
I'm Jennifer Ho. I am the owner of Hangar Studios in New York City. I'm a single mom of two gorgeous boys.
And I am Thomas Chernicky. I'm a single father of 3 kids. I reside in Edmond, Oklahoma.
Nice. Thanks for the introduction. So you both are single, but you're in a relationship. So I would love for us to go down the path of how you guys met. How did your love journey begin? Go as far back as you want to go.
I think it would start in the halls of Central Junior High in Oklahoma. I used to live in Oklahoma City, and we went to school together, actually. But we didn't really, at least we don't remember ever meeting in the halls.
We had mutual friends, but I didn't really know her. I knew of her. And
Okay.
that's about the extent.
And we think we had a class together, but I don't remember you. I love you. I'm sorry, I don't remember you. So we went to junior high. We went through junior high, and then in high school, after my sophomore year, I upped and I moved to New York, kind of never to be seen again. And then 20 years goes by, and I get an invitation to the 20-year high school reunion of the high school in Oklahoma I didn't even graduate with. So I decided to kind of crash the high school reunion because I knew everybody there. And he came up to me and he said, "Jenny Ho," because they all call me Jenny in Oklahoma. And I looked at him, I said, "I'm so sorry, I don't remember who you are." And he goes, it's okay, but I remember you."
I said, "It's all right. I was the quiet kid in the corner."
Yeah.
So you knew her name and everything?
Yeah. So we had Putnam City. It's a big high school, yet it's not a big high school. Pretty much everybody knew of everybody. Even though you may not have hung out with them or any of that. But Jenny, like I would go flipping through the yearbooks and her picture would just pop up.
Oh, okay.
No reason whatsoever. I go, "Oh yeah, there's Jenny Ho." I always, thought she was attractive, but it was never like a longing or anything like that. Okay. Anyway, so I'd flip. And it'd be like, "Oh, I wonder what happened to her," And then, she looked the same. Whenever we, on July 10th, we walked out on the patio, and there she was. And I was like, "Hey, Jenny Ho." Thank God I'd already had a couple of drinks in me. That was that. And then it's just been
All I kept thinking was, wow, you aged well.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So, and it's been over 3 years now. And
But at the beginning in Oklahoma, at the reunion, right before I left to come back to my life in New York, it was bittersweet to come back and see everybody. But when I met him, there was a fleeting thought there for a second of how is this going to work out?
Right.
When you meet somebody and you connect with them, I don't care who you are, you start running through the process of, okay, is this a possibility?
Right.
And start playing out that type of scenario.
Uh-huh.
And so I didn't think that it would be a possibility to have this relationship because I'm in New York, he's in Oklahoma. I hadn't been back to Oklahoma in almost 20 years, and
I wrote it off as a weekend fling.
Oh.
And then she hit me up a few days later, and we just kept talking.
Okay,
And
so can we back up just a little bit? Because
Yeah.
it went from she didn't know, you knew her name and she didn't remember you, but then somehow something must have happened there where you guys exchanged phone numbers maybe?
Yeah.
we actually hung out.
Yeah.
So we hung out the first night after the reunion. We were hanging out. The next morning we had breakfast together.
Mm-hmm.
So
we had the everybody met back at the high school to kind of do a walkthrough, and
Okay.
this was Saturday morning. Well, we had breakfast, and then it was all right, let's meet separately at the high school so no one thinks anything happened. Though I was still wearing the same clothes from the night before.
he was doing a walk of shame. That was great.
Although I guess it'd be more of a walk of fame.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we met up. I was guzzling my coffee.
Mm-hmm. I
We-
ordered the man-sized breakfast.
Yep, we went to a local place that has some of the best fried chicken in the world. They're really known for it.
Yeah.
Um,
But we just clicked. It was easy. There was no effort made. And I mean, it helps that he's really good looking. So the
Right.
next day at the pool party, after we did the walkthrough, we hung out some more, and then we hung out that night again. And then when we parted ways on Sunday, it was really,
it was hard.
it was
hard.
Yeah.
It was one of those cosmic, and I used to hate it when people would say this, but I finally got it because I had that experience. But it was really I've known this person for a long time to feel that relaxed with somebody.
Right.
I mean, I was always the person that had their guard up all the time and just never allowed anybody in. And then I meet him, and for some reason, it was unnecessary.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, they say when you meet the right one, it's effortless.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why I call her my butterfly,
Oh.
which comes from the old Chinese story. It's the Chinese version of Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
But basically, they have a love that they can't have at that time. So at the end, they turn into butterflies and start their next life together.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's what it's been. It's been a journey of lives. Who knows how many times and I don't know if you've ever seen that movie with Matt Damon, where the Adjustment Bureau, where they wear a hat and they go through all these doors, but you have Emily Blunt and Matt Damon, and basically they try to keep them apart because every lifetime they're meant to be together. Well, they try to separate them, but no matter how much you try to separate, they keep going back together.
Oh, okay.
And so, I mean, Jenny and I, we should have known each other in high school, but we didn't.
Yeah.
We never should have met again. But
No,
we did.
I had no reason to be in
Yeah.
Oklahoma at that time other than an urge. And that's one thing I will say, you never know where this is going to happen.
Right.
I didn't belong at that reunion.
But
I
you
never
didn't
belonged
meet.
there. I didn't graduate with them. I just
Right.
crashed it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was really cool. And even at the beginning when we were talking on the phone, I knew how I felt about you.
Mhm.
But I still didn't know how it was going to work because he's got 3 kids. It's not like he can up and leave Oklahoma. They've got their life there, and I've got my 2 here. So we knew it was going to be a long time.
Right.
We knew it was a long time being long distance, and believe me, it's been
It's been a rodeo.
challenging. Challenging is the best way to say it.
Yeah.
You know, when you have something, but you can't have it all the way.
Thank God for Skype.
Yeah.
I know, right?
For our second meeting after the 20-year high school reunion in Colorado really sealed the deal for me in terms of allowing myself to be vulnerable and intimate with somebody else. You know, outside of sexually, I'm not even talking about sexually, I mean, like really have him see me and be okay with it. Because, I mean, right now my hands will start sweating if I think of like intimacy, but it feels better than it did. It used to cause a lot of anxiety. I'm like, no, you can't see me. I don't want you to see any of the ugly things or the things I don't like or, you know, but wow.
Yeah. It was one night I basically had to grab her head and have her just stare at me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Chipped away that wall. That hard shell.
Yeah. So I have so many questions.
Go for it.
First, I want to go back to, I mean, we can touch on this part of you being able to be seen, you know, and sort of that intimacy, you know, excluding sex, but you being able to be seen, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And also I want to touch on the engagement too, but let's talk about where we are right now in terms of like when you say you were in Colorado and you were able to be seen.
I pride myself on being a strong woman, a strong, independent woman who's paved her own way, that has created everything in her life. And so for me to be fallible, for me to look like I don't have my stuff together, or that I would actually say before that I didn't have my stuff together, that something was wrong, or I had an insecurity or any of that, was not attractive to me. It showed a side. It was weak. It was being weak to me. And so I didn't like anybody seeing that side.
Right.
I was always in control, right? And so,
or at least you were always had the presence and the perception and the look of being in control, even when you didn't.
Right. I thought I did, right? But then, you know, I would say in Colorado, when we were intimate in Colorado, you know, I was always used to not connecting love with sex.
Right.
Sex was sex, and it was fun, and it was great. It's what people do for fun, but love was never a part of that. It needed to stay separate for me because it felt too, I didn't want to give everything over.
Right.
And so it felt like a loss of power.
Yeah.
Where I would connect, or at least in some way connect. And so he basically like held my head and had me look at him.
I did. I literally held her head.
And he's like, look at me.
So this is during times when you were intimate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the first time we're intimate, like after the reunion. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not the first, but the first that it was. So, you know, you have the initial whenever you get back together, and it's just, it was wild and crazy. This was, I think, on day 2 or so. And yeah, we were in bed, and she had a problem with looking into my eyes.
Right.
And she would try to keep looking away. And so I grabbed her head, and I was like, you've got to look at me. I mean, I didn't say anything verbally or anything. It was just basically, and I just stared, and she couldn't look away, and she looked, and
it's making me tear up.
She afterwards she cried, and I was like, oh, my bad.
Yeah, no, because I had never experienced that before, and I said, what are you doing? I looked at him like, what are you doing? You want me to look at you? What do you want?
Yeah.
Right?
That is so powerful, because you know what? Oh my God. I mean, you're crying. I'm getting goosebumps just hearing it, because, you know, I've heard so many times where it's a very difficult and very vulnerable time, especially when there's a little bit of trauma that, you know, and I don't know if that's the case for you, but.
No,
you know.
It's not trauma for me. It's really, I've had a lot of trauma in my life, none that is sexually, but I believe that trauma spilled over into this self-protective mechanism where I had really, I didn't connect in order to protect myself from everybody.
Yeah.
And so by him doing that, it was like, I want to see you. And I was like, what do you want to see me for?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was really until I was like, okay, you know what? And this, thank you, honey. In this second, I have a choice to really connect with somebody who wants to.
Yeah.
Or keep doing what I'm doing and never have that experience. So in that moment, it was a choice to be seen. Right. Even though he's just looking in my eyes, it was a very pinnacle moment for me. And so from that point on, there was a different type of relationship. I could choose differently the entire way. I could always choose vulnerability. I can always choose intimacy as opposed to what I've always been doing because I had nothing to lose at that point.
Yeah.
Right? I was taking away from myself by not allowing it to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So, my heart.
Yeah.
What does that feel like? Are you able to describe what that feels like when somebody actually looks you in the eye and say, look at me? Like, and I'm thinking this is such an intimate and sort of very vulnerable time.
Yeah. You feel completely naked.
Yeah.
You feel completely, I mean, if you can imagine what it would be like to be in a room of just strangers and strip down and stand there.
Yeah.
While they're looking at you. That's what it feels, but at an emotional level. But that's the closest feeling I can describe to what that moment felt like. It was extremely vulnerable. It was extremely scary. I was scared out of my mind because I said, he's going to hightail it and run.
Right.
You know, if he sees any of this stuff that I've got going on behind my facade, he's going to hightail it and run. He's not going to like it. He's not going to want a part of it. But he kept sticking around. He just kept sticking around. And I'm like, okay, so this is okay with you? Like, you know, and there are moments where, you know, you put on this facade through life or through relationships and you feel fake at a certain point. You know, you feel like it's a struggle to keep that up. It really is. And so I could finally just like,
nobody's perfect. Everybody's dirty. And if you keep trying to be the perfect person to keep them, they're not in love with real you. You know, it's so cliche.
Yeah.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, I want her mess.
Oh,
I want
man.
it. I want it.
Right?
Oh, man.
And he actually does. And it's not so much that he says he wants my mess. He shows me he does, because every time I let something else go, like I have anxiety and I'll talk to him about it, or something is not perfect and I'm with him about it. He shows me by sticking around. I'm always an actions type of girl and not a words. Words are beautiful, but show me, right?
Show me acts of service. Yeah.
Yeah.
She does love flowers.
Yeah, I actually do. Like I don't need to be the tough. I don't need to be the tough broad all the time around him, right? I can actually say, I don't have it together today.
Yeah.
Lean on you a little bit. And so that's really nice. But yeah, I would say standing in front of a crowd of people completely naked is what that feeling is. And it's my go-to is to shut down and create a wall. So if I'm upset about something, that's my go-to. Control is also my go-to. And because I'm aware of it, I can see when that's coming up in our relationship. And he knows what's happening.
Yeah.
He knows that I'm rearing up like a horse, right? I'm rearing up. He knows it, and he can be with me differently about it because I've let him in.
There's times where I just throw my hands up and say, we.
Oh man. So it told me though, when you asked that question of look at me, did you know how much of an impact that was in that moment?
No, no. Basically, I just wanted to connect with her. So, like I said, we had that connection initially. Then we spent probably 2 months on the phone and on Skype. Uh, I think this is when I broke my ankle. I had broke my ankle playing indoor soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wasn't at work. So we were on Skype all the time talking. I mean, and that was one thing that was really different about our relationship was it wasn't built physically because we couldn't. So everything had to be communication.
Right.
I mean, there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we got there, and it was the second or third night. Like I said, we're in the room, and we're starting to get intimate, and she kept looking away, and I was like, I don't know what's happening. She had never really explained,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, no, I want your eyes right here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's play that connect game. And it happened, and there was definitely a shift almost right then and there. I can remember there was a bit of shaking after we had stopped having sex, and you teared up.
Oh yeah, I lost it.
But we never really discussed it after that. You kind of still kept that to yourself. I didn't find out how big that was until she had told a friend of hers about it.
Who still jokes about it to this day. What, you want to look at me?
Uh-huh. I didn't realize how big it was until, Heidi had actually told me how big it was.
Yeah. I was still processing it. I was still trying to figure out what was going on because a lot came up for me that I was not expecting.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't realize how big of an impact. I wasn't looking for a big impact. I just knew I personally wanted to connect with her more than just physically. It was one of those that I wanted to connect with my butterfly. So.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And, oh my God, a lot of things are coming up right now in my mind because I am one to, in times of intimacy, I want to turn off the lights.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're talking about this whole connecting, eyes are the windows to the soul. And maybe there's something there for me too, where I don't want to connect with someone in that way. So when you're sharing that and talking about that, a lot is coming up on my, in my mind about me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
That's absolutely right. Because I needed to put my head in a certain space in order to, have that. When you're used to protecting yourself, you don't know what it's like because it becomes an automatic.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you don't have that.
Well, if you don't allow yourself to have the intimacy, you never had a full relationship to begin with.
Right, but I have to tell you, with past partners, nobody wanted to be intimate like that either. But then again, that's because I chose that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I chose those relationships because I didn't want to be intimate either.
Right.
So I would choose the men who didn't want to be intimate.
Which is why I think at the beginning our relationship was so enticing to her, because we are literally 1,451 miles, I think 1,451 miles from door to door.
Right.
Yes, and so I could hide.
Yeah.
I could still hide, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he completely blew that one out of the water. When he did that, I'm like, what do you do?
Wow. I mean, wow. I have no words, but just wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Wow. I mean, that's like a whole, I wish I could do a whole episode about that because that's deep.
It really is.
We've had a very interesting relationship in the sense that there's nothing textbook about what we've gone through, what we go through. But I am ultimately grateful because through us, our kids have a chance to see what a loving relationship looks like. In fact, my youngest said the other day she has a boy, a gentleman caller.
Which he does not like.
Well, it's because he's a boy. She had a boy that was wanting to be her boyfriend, and she's like, "No, you got to prove that you're worthy of me." Which,
wow,
girl, right there. But
how old is she?
16.
Oh wow! For 16-year-old to say that, that's awesome.
I love it.
Well, her dad set the bar pretty high, though.
Yeah.
You know, you do mimic what your parents' relationship is like, and so you set the bar pretty high.
Well, that's what she said. She goes, "I want to wait," and she goes, "I want to make sure I've got a relationship like you and Jenny."
Yeah.
And I was like, "I hope so."
Yeah.
Because I mean, no matter even if I'm frustrated, because we fight, but even through the fight, even when I'm like, oh God. At the same time, I'm like,
me?
Yeah, I'm like, oh God, I love you so much.
You don't get that irritated with me ever.
No, but there again, communication. Ultimately, at the end of the day.
Yeah, the long distance relationship, here's the thing, when you get in a fight and you have your person next to you or within like driving distance of you, you can go over there and console them. You can give each other hugs after. We can't do that.
Yeah.
So we don't have the physical contact. We need to work at keeping it intact and communicating with each other constantly. We don't have that. I can't. If he's having a really bad day, and that's one of the worst things about the long distance relationship. If something is happening to your partner, you can't be there the way that you'd like to. You can't just hold them or.
There's no physical comfort.
Yeah.
It's simply, hey, I'm here. I can see you. But at the same time, what sucks is though we have a life going on together, ultimately, she's got a life going separately than I've got. So, like if we were, 5 miles down the road, I've got something going on with, my daughter or my son or whatever. She can go with me and still be a part of it.
Right.
But she may have something going on with one of her boys, and I've got something going on with one of mine. And so it's a constant. It's a constant effort to try to make sure that we are involved in each other's life outside of us as well as with each other.
And sometimes it gets really difficult. I mean, still to this day, I have, when he's gone for a while, because we see each other probably once every 2.5 months lately, I forget what he feels like, or I forget what it's like to have him around. So it starts to slowly fade as I go back into my normal life and everything is kicking up and I'm doing my thing and he's doing his thing. And then I miss him, but I start to forget. And so, that's when we start to argue, which I know that I pick them most of the time when we're away from each other. It's my fault. No, when we're away from each other for like 2 months or so, I start to get really itchy and I say, okay, I need that physical contact. I need to see you. Like,
yeah.
I've got colognes and hair products and everything that I wear. I've got duplicates here. And so she may throw on one of my shirts and take one of my lotions or something and put it on.
Yeah.
For like a week after she leaves my house, I'll take one of her sweatshirts and I put it on my pillow as a pillowcase.
Oh, so you can smell her and feel connected to her.
Right.
Until the smell fades and then there's nothing. You're like, oh, God.
Yeah. I even, when she's gone for at least a week, I'll sleep on the couch.
Oh my
Because
God.
I've got to have that back.
Yeah.
Because then there's a feel of touching, of somebody there. Because otherwise my bed seems so big.
Yeah. Those are the pieces that are the most difficult out of the long distance relationship. It's
The longing.
Yeah, the longing and the constant countdown clock.
Yeah.
The countdown, one of when we're going to see each other again. We'll say, oh, it's 17 days or it's 2 weeks or whatever. And then when we're together, we have the other
countdown to leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, it's like a constant countdown.
And the last day is usually really, really hard. And she tends to get knocked out on those days.
What do you mean?
On the last day of me being there. Last full day, like today.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm leaving tomorrow morning. So
like,
what she does is she'll sit there and
get quiet.
Yeah, she takes herself out of the actual day because she's focusing on the fact that, we're going back to a 2D relationship as opposed to our 3D.
Oh, yeah.
But so I always try to wear a bunch of different clothes to get them all nice and stinky for her.
You had to bring it up.
Oh.
Yeah, this is the worst part.
But I mean, we're almost there.
Got me crying all over the place.
I'm moving here. So when my youngest graduates high school, I'll move up here. And then she'll be crying because I'm not leaving.
We're together all the time. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. Do you have a love story? Or do you know somebody with a love story? If so, shoot me an email, kanukayi@gmail.com. Please go to my YouTube channel, Real Love, Real Stories Podcast, and subscribe. And also follow me on Instagram and Facebook, Real Love, Real Stories. Till next time.